Welcome back, everybody, to the Road to the UFA, episode 9. It's been 2 months since I first began this journey, so thank you to those of you who have been watching and commenting and telling me, giving me support. Really appreciate that. It gives me the energy and motivation to keep it up and to keep going, to keep making videos. Right, because sometimes our own internal motivation is not enough, and you need people in your life giving you that support, right? So, life lesson for the day: go get some support from your friends, and go out and support your friends, right? You never know which of your friends needs it. So, anyways, enough of me rambling. Welcome back to episode 9. Thank you for watching. This was a really good week in terms of my goals. I have sleep goals, I have diet goals, throwing goals, playing goals, as well as running goals. And I was pretty happy with everything so far this week. My sleep was great. Been getting 8 hours every night. On the weekends, I like to take naps and sleep in, get that extra recovery sleep, right? Because you can destroy all your muscles while you're working out, but if you're not sleeping, your muscles are not recovering. You're not giving yourself time to build the muscles, right? Diet's been going good. Been eating a lot of protein this week. My weight's been steady around 175. Feeling like really lean and jacked, and it's a good feeling. Exercise has been going good. Picked up a couple new ideas for some exercises, which you'll see and I'll talk about later in this video. Throwing's been going good. I get some tosses in here and there. Practices, as well as sometimes with my students at school. Shout out Santiago for always throwing with me at lunch. Right, and sometimes I throw with my roommate. This week I got a lot of throws in at practices, sunburn practices, as well as at league. In terms of running, it was a good week for that. I did 2 sprints on Tuesday, as well as a bit of kind of like zone 2 jogging back and forth, which you'll see here in a second. This is a workout that I did on Tuesday. It started with the core workout that I've been hitting. After that, I did some hangs. I did a hang for about 1 minute and 20, and I pushed through the failure on a lot of my workouts this week. That's one thing I'm going to focus on a lot this summer is pushing to failure for a couple reasons. One, it's going to give you the most muscle stimulus. There's nothing like pushing to failure, and then you start moving that muscle around a little bit later, and you just totally feel how pumped and fatigued it is. Great feeling. And then the second reason I'm pushing to failure is because it's a mental challenge, right? You get to, 2 sets before failure, and your body says, okay, you're good. You don't have to do this anymore. You can stop now. Your brain tells you you don't have to go anymore. But is that true? Right? Is that true? Can you not do 2 more sets? You push through, and you push through that voice in your head that tells you to stop, and you say, I'm going to do 1 more set. My body is capable, despite what you're telling me, right? And that's that mental strength that I'm trying to build, right? Because then I'm out in the frisbee field, and I'm gassed. I can't breathe. I know deep inside me that I have that strength to push on. I know I have that strength to, breathe a bit harder, take some big breaths, run a little bit more, and finish off that point. Here is some there and back stuff that I did. Ran for about 6 minutes, just trying to get there and back as many times as I could, focusing really on stopping as quickly as I could and accelerating out of that stop. In terms of playing frisbee, I got to play frisbee on Wednesday, on Monday, and on Friday. On Wednesday, I got to play a little bit with the Sunburn boys, and then I went to league afterwards. My team won. Shout out White Team and shout out Chau. It was a fun game against the Green Team. A lot of our our opponents were sleep deprived and maybe jet lagged as well from just coming back from Japan. So that felt a little unfortunate, but it was still a fun game. I did record that game. That's actually me at the fields right now, but I decided against using the footage just because it's kind of hard to see and it was kind of far away. I'm gonna try to find a better way to get footage of league. After league on Wednesday, as you could see from the video, I had some really lean beef, 7% fat, 93% protein. And then this is a workout that I did Saturday morning. So I believe this is what's called a miso set. Correct me if I'm wrong. My roommate Walker was telling me about this. So you start with an exercise, in this case push-ups. You do it with perfect technique, slow descent, pause in the stretch, and a quick ascent, right? So slow eccentric, pause in the stretch, quick concentric. You do the first set to failure. So the first set I think I did 9, and then I couldn't do any more. After the first set I rested for about 4 minutes, full rest and recovery, and then I came back and I did a second set of 9. And once I hit failure, I just paused for 30 seconds, as you can see there, and then came back at it for that next set. And then once that was over, I did some partials. Okay, so the final part of the miso set is after you finish that second set, some partials, and you take a little bit of rest in between, and you get a couple more partials in, right? Partial meaning you're in that stretch position, and you're doing partial ranges of motion. So you're going up a little bit and down, up a little bit and then down. This absolutely destroyed my shoulders, specifically my triceps, because I was focusing on a narrow grip. My hands were closer together, which activates more of that tricep muscle in your push-ups. If you go for a wide grip, that's going to hit more of your chest. Narrow grip going to hit more of your triceps. After that, I did a couple shoulder presses, but they felt really unstable, so I think I'm going to try to find some more ways to rehab and increase the strength of my shoulder, because doing those couple sets there did not feel good. My second set for the miso set was pull-ups, so I did 4.5 pull-ups, 4 pull-ups all the way with good control on the eccentric, and then 1 half set. Rested for 4 minutes, came back at it. I did 3 with good technique. Okay, and then I paused for 30 seconds, taking big breaths, right, getting oxygen to my muscles, letting the ATP recover, and then pushing out for that final set, again with that slow descent. And then again, just like with the push-ups, I paused for a bit and did some partial sets afterwards, right? So most of your muscle growth is going to happen in that bottom range of motion, in that stretched position. So that's why afterwards I'm hitting some partial ranges of motion. After my workout on Saturday, I got some tossing in. I went to the park right by my house and threw with the other captain of Sonoran Dog, Sticky Mitch, as well as a local Tucson legend, Scott Olmberg. I've been playing Frisbee with Scott since I was 11 years old. And he's still going, man. He's still crushing it, which is awesome to see. It was kind of windy, so that was a great opportunity to throw and learn about and practice throwing in the wind. Here in Tucson, we do not get wind very often. It's a pretty dry place with, kind of random crazy weather storms, but mostly pretty stable weather without too much wind. So anytime it's windy, I, take the opportunity to try and go throw. Because throwing in the wind is like just the best way that you can learn about throwing. Like every single throw teaches you something about how the disc works, about how it flies, and you're just not going to become a good thrower if you're not getting opportunities to throw in the wind. Like, there's really no other way to put it. Good teams often become really good because their conditions that they're practicing in are just make them, like, force them to become incredible throwers. And if you can throw, you know, if you can throw almost any throw in the wind, like, it's just going to naturally translate to your non-wind throwing, and it's just going to give you all sorts of different angles and tips and ideas and release points to be a great thrower. So, long story short, go throw in the wind, go switch up the angles, switch up the distances, and don't get too frustrated with mistakes and throws that go too far, right? The first thing my dad told me when I started playing Frisbee, one of the first things, I threw a bad throw, I said, sorry. He said, don't say sorry, figure out why it happened. Now, it's okay to say sorry once in a while when you throw a bad throw, but the message is still the same. Figure out what happened. How did that happen? How am I going to make sure it doesn't happen again? Why did it happen? Right? What small adjustment can I make in my throw so that it doesn't happen again? These are the questions you got to be asking yourself, right? Because nobody's a perfect thrower. Anybody who's doesn't think they need to work on their throws, it's just foolish, right? They're just way too confident and foolish, and they're going to be made to look like a fool the next time they go play in a tournament. Anyways, that's enough of me ranting about throwing and throwing in the wind. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope I see you guys next week. Adios. One final thing, can't forget the question of the week. Why do we need protein? Why do we need so much protein? So protein has a lot of really important bodily functions. One, it helps to build and repair muscles and tissues and bones. Okay, so whenever we're injured or wherever we're working out a lot, it can help us recover and repair faster. Two, it can aid with hormonal regulation, which is essential for a lot of our body's functioning, reproductive health, motivation. And three, getting enough protein helps our body to transfer other nutrients, other important macronutrients across our body easier. Finally, getting enough protein can help us with our metabolisms, help slow down our metabolism. So those are all the reasons we need protein. Question of the week for next week. Why do we need 8 hours of sleep every night?